All right, welcome back to the United States Barista Competition. For our second competitor of the day, we have Bryan Overstreet of the Coffee Movement in San Francisco, California. All right, and give it up for those judges.
Such a pleasure. Awesome. Come on. Perfect. What you doing? Everyone comfortable? Awesome. Alan, may I have my music? Awesome. Time. Good morning, judges. My name is Bryan Overstreet, and I'm from the Coffee Movement. The Coffee Movement is a small cafe in San Francisco, providing roasters from around the world. Now, coffee to me is my second career. Before becoming a barista, I was a paramedic, and service has always been my driving force. Now, as much as I love that career, I was looking for a change of pace. For me, that came in the form of travel, which usually revolved around coffee cultures and cafes. So what started out as a short trip to Australia turned out being a 2-year education in coffee and hospitality. For me, the communal aspect of the cafe is what I fell in love with. So today I want to take you on a little tour, see 3 different roasters, check out their local coffee community, and also highlight the beautiful relationship happening between roasters and producers. Relax, let me get our first course prepared, our milk course. Awesome. So, our first course starts in Sydney, Australia, home to Barrel 1 coffee roasters. Now, I had the incredible opportunity of going on an origin trip with the close friend and founder, Dan. And for Dan, this trip wasn't just checking on the farm and the production quality. It was also about dropping off soccer gear and school supplies to the local kids. And this is when it hit me. Coffee could be my new way of serving the community. So back in Australia, where brewed and filter coffee are still gaining popularity, milk and espresso beverages have been a part of their culture since the beginning of time. So today, we'll be recreating the Australian classic, the cocoa cappuccino. We'll be doing that by just using espresso, milk, and some specific techniques. First, the coffee is roasted and sourced by Barrel 1. The coffee is a Brazilian coffee grown in Barista at 1,100 meters above sea level. It's a naturally fermented coffee done for 48 hours. It's then dried on raised beds. This coffee's recipe is a 1 to 1.5 ratio. 18 grams in, 28 grams out, at roughly 32 seconds. At this recipe, we're highlighting this espresso's rich baker's chocolate notes. We're going to need to balance that out using sweetness. Today we're using reduced fat milk, which contains a higher sugar content, and what it lacks in creamy texture, we've minimized by reducing 1/3 of its water weight using freeze distillation, capturing those high sugars and maximizing its creamy texture. I'll be steaming our milk to the ideal drinking temperature of 125 degrees. We found at this temperature, these sugars are coming through like a sweet vanilla. You'll also notice I've textured this milk on the thinner side, maximizing its weight. This will allow me to use my pouring technique, piercing the crema, allowing it to rise up to meet you for your first sip, with flavors reminiscent of that cocoa powder on the cocoa cappuccino. In your second sip, those sugars from the milk coming through like a beautiful vanilla. Please, enjoy. In the finish, you're gonna get a familiar flavor of melting coffee ice cream. Enjoy. So just to recap, that first sip coming through reminiscent of that cocoa cappuccino with flavors of cocoa powder. That second sip, the sugars from the milk coming through like a sweet vanilla. And the finish, a beautiful coffee ice cream. Enjoy. Last but not least, nice to see you. Coffee with a side of shakes. Cheers.
Let's have a round of applause for Bryan's cappuccinos.
Enjoy those, relax. I'm gonna get our next course started, our espresso course. All right, for our next course, our espresso course, we're heading to the Netherlands, home of Manhattan coffee roasters. Now, Manhattan coffee roasters and the founders, Ben and Esther, have been sourcing some of the best coffees in the world. Today, we're highlighting their relationship with Diego Bermudez, a producer of El Tambo, Colombia. Now this coffee, grown at 1,800 meters above sea level. It's a Castillo varietal, fully washed and anaerobically fermented. Now this fermentation is done in precise bioreactors, measuring everything from time, temperature, sugar content, pH, down to the microbial load. Now this precision done by Diego and the team in Colombia is allowing the roaster back in Rotterdam to develop some extraordinary flavors. So today we're pooling this espresso at 20 grams in, 50 grams out in 37 seconds. So the first time I was in the Netherlands, I had a sensory experience that I'll never forget. It started with an espresso. So first, take a moment to visually evaluate these, but hold off on drinking until I give you some specific instructions. Next, I'll be cooling your espressos using a frozen spoon to get it to the ideal drinking temperature. So that sensory experience in the Netherlands started with my morning espresso, red fruit flavors. The next scent was an herbaceous, earthy aroma emitting from some of the cafes. Now this definitely wasn't just coffee, and the aroma contrasted the red fruit flavors, boosting their overall sweetness. A sensory experience I want to recreate for you today by using 1 dash of pine, 1 dash of cedar, and 1 dash of citric hops. Now this is to highlight how contrasting aromas can affect flavor. So for drinking instructions, As I come back around and stir your espresso for you, feel free to sip as soon as I remove it, enjoying that aroma as it contrasts your first flavor, coming through like a beautiful medium acidity of a raspberry candy. You'll also notice an aroma, raspberry and crunchberry, like a nostalgic breakfast cereal. Your next sip, you'll notice a medium-high sweetness like a Turkish delight. In the finish, soft, lingering, silky, with hints of orange. You'll have a light weight. Enjoy.
Give it up for those espressos.
Thank you so much, sir. Appreciate you. All right, for our next course, our last course, unfortunately, it's our signature drink. And I want to serve you our most popular drink on the menu. We're back home in San Francisco now. Sorry, I've been on a long flight. We're back in San Francisco, home for me and where the shop's located. Now, this most popular drink is the coffee cream soda. And at this point in my career, coffee is community, and this drink highlights the closest relationships in the industry for me. It starts off with our local roaster, St. Frank Coffee. This coffee was produced by my friend Benjamin Paz of Santa Barbara, Honduras. This coffee is an SL28 varietal, Kenyan genetics, grown in Honduras. A truly special mix. It's an SL28 varietal grown at 1,700 meters above sea level. It's fully washed and anaerobically fermented, getting the best from that the Kenyan genetics and that Honduran terroir. So, I've added 160 grams of espresso over frozen shaken cubes to avoid any dilution. Next, I'm adding 1 ounce tonka bean simple syrup. Tonka bean is a flowering tree, a member of the pea family. I'm adding it today for sweetness. I've made this paste by using 1 gram tonka bean paste, 10 grams orange zest, and equal parts water and milk. Water and sugar, that's the one. I'm adding 4 ounces of tonic water to add as a vessel and also effervescent texture. Beautiful. Inside the glasses are frozen spheres with a frozen orange garnish. Because we're back in San Francisco, it's time to be extra. Also adds a visual appeal. So for these drinking instructions, no wrong way to drink them, but in your first sip, please enjoy that foamy texture, like a Guinness draft. That will lead way into a beautiful effervescent with flavors of cream soda and orange creamsicle. Cheers. Cheers.
Let's
Thank
have a
you.
round of applause for those signature beverages.
All right, friends, I hope you had a chance to enjoy a beverage that has truly brought our local community together. Some people laugh at me when I tell them the parallels between being a paramedic and a barista. I think it comes down to human connection. So thank you for allowing me for that opportunity. Time.
Give it up for Bryan Overstreet. Come over here, Bryan. Talk to us a bit.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
How are you feeling?
Grateful.
That was the first thing you said when you walked out here and I
Yeah.
introduced myself. You said you were so grateful and what a privilege it was to be on this floor today.
When you start there, I mean, the rest is a gift. So I just really, I mean, honestly, it sounds so sappy, but it's so real. This speech is about human connection, and it's never been more apparent when I'm in a setting like this, where the people I'm talking about are present. It's nice to be able to give it the opportunity to tell my life story that is so connected with coffee. So this is truly special.
Wonderful. I related to your entire performance so much. I think everybody here can attest to how much we needed to be back together for that human connection.
Thank you.
Is there any shout outs that you want to give?
I mean, the list is long. You'll kick me out of here. The music will come on. It'll be awkward. But my coach, Reef Bissett, my best friend, my wife, Courtney, who's just amazing. The team, the coffee movement back home. You're the only reason this is allowed to happen. I do this for you, and I know you do that for us. So it's a team effort, so I appreciate you.
Wonderful. Well, let's give a round of applause for Bryan Overstreet from the Coffee Movement in San Francisco, California. I'll definitely be making that a stop my next trip to the Bay. Good luck, and thank you so much.
You guys are
We'll
amazing.
be back in a little bit. We're going to have some words from our sponsors. So please keep your head up, and we'll see you in a few minutes.
It takes intention, passion, and excellence to set a hospitality